Okay, well, he's online. We register that he is online.
Tia Ping. Here. Alfredo Moreno.
Here.
Felicita Monteblanco. Here. Barbie Minor.
Here. Okay, first item up, do we have any business resulting from executive session? I believe that we do.
Oh, Ethan,
All good.
I'll find my notes here.
We got lots.
Yes, I would like to make a motion. I move that the board authorize staff to adjust the purchase price for the property in the northwest quadrant as discussed in executive session using system development charges, charge fees, and escrow, and to acquire a second property in the northwest quadrant of the district for the price discussed in executive session using system development charge fees and escrow as well as cash, subject to the standard due diligence review and approval of the general manager or designee.
I will second.
Amazing. Could you take a vote?
Miles Palacios.
We love technology.
Did that come through? Can you folks hear me?
Is he putting anything in the chat even?
He's noted that he's here, but he can't hear the room yet.
Oh, I wonder,
Oh, there's an eye.
I was just going to say, if I have my microphone on, Miles, does that help remotely?
He just sent in the chat an eye.
Okay.
Folks, can you hear me?
Well, we'll leave my mic on tonight. Thanks, folks. Okay, we'll start again. So Miles, yes, continue with vote, please.
Tia Ping. Yes. Alfredo Moreno.
Yes.
Felicita Monteblanco.
Yes.
Barbie Minor.
Yes. Okay, next item of business, we have 3 proclamations to honor tonight. And just for new folks in the room, I'll just share and provide a little bit of context that with our monthly proclamations, when we can, we've invited our volunteers, community members, partners who work with the district to co-collaborate and make these proclamations a bit more meaningful and rooted in community. And now my mic just went out. So I have a few folks to introduce, and since, as I mentioned, we do have 3 proclamations this evening, if my folks who are here to present and share with us for the Arab Awareness Heritage Month, if you would like to go ahead and take a seat up here at the public testimony table, I'm going to read your bios and introduce you, and then we'll move on with our other 2 proclamations. So we are pleased to be joined this evening by Rita Salomo, who is our office technician at Garden Home. Rita is a passionate community advocate whose work at THPRD has been invaluable. She played a key role in championing Marhaba, a new signature THPRD event that celebrates Arab heritage and culture, uplifts Arab-owned businesses, and fosters community connection. Rita also leads outreach efforts for Centro de Bienvenida within Arab-speaking communities and provides direct support to Arabic-speaking families who attend Centro. Additionally, she is a co-lead for the Women-Only Swim program, working alongside Beaverton Swim Center and Equity and Engagement staff. Her leadership has been instrumental in growing the program from a pilot into an established offering for the community, serving as a vital connection between THPRD and community partners. Also have the pleasure of welcoming Sahar Wilson, from the Portland Refugee Support Group. Sahar has been a driving force as a volunteer, leader, and supporter of the Marhaba celebration over the past 2 years. She is constantly working in partnership with Rita at the Garden Home Recreation Center to better inform and support community members. Her dedication to uplifting community voices and creating opportunities has significantly enriched THPRD's work and impact. Nadine Albatar, thank you, apologies, from our Lutheran Community Services Northwest. Nadine has been a dedicated partner and enthusiastic supporter of THPRD events and initiatives. In collaboration with her team, we've hosted gatherings for women and youth in THPRD spaces. Lutheran Community Services Northwest also supported the launch of the Women-Only Swim program. We are currently working together to explore meaningful ways to celebrate Mother's Day with the women and families Nadine serves. And apologies, I have one more guest here. So I said 3 folks, but hello, welcome, sir. Ahmed Al-Zubidi from Arabic House. Ahmed has collaborated with THPRD and the Garden Home Recreation Center for many years. He was a co-creator of the Marhaba celebration, which has been held annually since 2022, and played a key role in piloting women-only swim program and in partnership with Beaverton Swim Center and the aquatics team. Ahmed is also a strong advocate for Centro de Bienvenida, the financial aid program, and is a strong promoter and connector to all THPRD offerings and opportunities. His efforts consistently help build meaningful connections between community members and THPRD in the spirit of unity. Thank you all for being here this evening. And if you would like to share a few words about your connection beyond what I've shared, please feel free. Otherwise, we're very grateful for you to be here tonight, and we would love to hear the proclamation and share in community with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Would you mind hitting there's a little button. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And good evening, everyone, Madam President, and board members. My name is Sahar Wilson, and I use she, her as my pronoun. I am the Marketing and Communications Coordinator for Pacific Refugee Support Group. I am a resident in Beaverton, and I work in Portland. I also volunteer on the Youth Portlander Policy Commission with the City of Portland. And I am always looking for ways to uplift our community voices, as well as create welcoming spaces. Thank you very much for the space in your board meeting. And I am going to start. So it's Wellington Hills Parks and Recreation District proclamation by the Board of Directors. Whereas for over a century, Arab Americans have made invaluable contributions to every aspect of the American society, including medicine, law, business, education, technology, government, military service, arts, and culture. And whereas Arab Americans have enriched communities across the United States by sharing their diverse traditions, heritage, cultural contributions, and with their neighbors and friends. And whereas Arab Americans have brought strong family values, a deep commitment to education, a spirit of innovation, and a dedication to civic engagement, strengthening the fabric of our society and democracy. And whereas, despite their many contributions, Arab Americans' history and experiences have often been overlooked and misrepresented, and Arab Americans continue to face challenges such as discrimination, harmful stereotypes, and biases. And
thank you, Sahar. My name is Nadine. I know it doesn't sound Arabic just because I'm from Lebanon, and Lebanon was a French colony, so my name is French. Thank you for the introduction. I'm very excited. Thank you for Lulu. Where is Lulu? Lulu, I don't know. I mean, I'm so grateful. I start working with Lucerne Community Services, which is, it has like over a decade of helping refugees and immigrants in the Pacific Northwest. So part of the program that I work under is promoting mental health. And who doesn't need mental health when you are new to the country, coming from diverse circumstances? So my work is the outreach, is building relationship with Lulu and everybody in the community. And I'm so grateful that Lulu is giving us space to celebrate Mother's Day. It's gonna be beautiful. I try to include a lot of community. This is my first year reaching out to the Latina moms in Washington County because of Lulu. We work with a lot of Arabs just because we work with a lot of Arabs in the company, in my organization. But I'm so excited to invite the Latina and African women to join our Afghan, our Arabic speaking Kurdish. So this is something very, very uplifting to me and to people who we serve. Anyway, I'm going to continue with the proclamation. I hope I'm not too loud. I am loud usually. Whereas a common misconception is that all Arabs are Muslim, when in fact Arab Americans come from diverse religion backgrounds. There is a significant community of Arab Christians who have long coexisted with Muslim communities throughout history, reflecting a rich and diverse heritage that is essential part of the Arab American experience, yet it's frequently misunderstood or ignored. Whereas fostering education, awareness, and cross-cultural understanding is essential in promoting inclusivity, equity, and respect for Arab American communities. And whereas recognizing and celebrating the heritage, resilience, and achievements of Arab Americans helps build a more inclusive and united community. And now, therefore, the Board of Directors of the Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District does hereby declare the month of April 2025 as Arab American Heritage Month and do urge all those in the Tualatin Hills Park and Rec District to support and promote this observance. Signed this 9th day of April 2025 by Barbie Miner, President, and Alfredo Moreno, Secretary. Thank you so much.
Going to ask, do our other two guests, would you like to say any comments you would like to make?
We have like the Arabic copy to read it in Arabic too. So
Yes, please.
awesome.
Thank you so much. I wasn't aware that we had the translated version, so thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ahmed Zubaydi. I just want to say maybe a few words before we start, and if the time allow, I'm originally from Baghdad, Iraq. I arrived to Beaverton. This is the first city I moved in. And I just want to say to you and Tualatin or THPRD, thank you for making us feel home. Actually, any things that, especially Garden Home Recreation location, provide for my community. They did a great job. So I just want to say thank you, Rita, to make us feel more welcome. And we had a lot of projects before the pandemic. I wish one day we can back to that location. We host I can say Sunday school to learn Arabic for adult, teenager, young people. And it was not just language, it was like providing culture, keep the heritage, and keep that diversity, keep going. When they learn more than one language, that's beneficial for our community. So again, I just want to say thank you to make us feel home, because it's hard for us who suffer or who run away from war zone for 30 years to move and leave everything behind, the big family, houses, homes, city, friends, big family, and jobs, and to huge difference with gap, with the culture, and feel it's home. It's a huge for us. So I really appreciate it. As Ahmed, as a father for 3 kids, and as a community leader with our community. Rita, do you want to say anything? Okay. So I will, sorry I speak too much. I cannot give up. My background as a journalist is hard to, keep all the time. So anyway, Tualatin Health Park and Recreation District إعلان من قبل مجلس الإدارة، وحيث أن الأمريكيين العرب قدموا مساهمات لا تقدر بثمن على مدى أكثر من قرن في كل من جوانب المجتمع الأمريكي، بما في ذلك الطب والقانون والأعمال والتعليم والتكنولوجيا والحكومة والخدمة العسكرية والفنون والثقافة إلى آخره. وحيث أن الأمريكيين العرب أثروا المجتمعات في جميع أنحاء الولايات المتحدة من خلال مشاركة تقاليدهم وتراثهم ومساهماتهم الثقافية المتنوعة مع جيرانهم وأصدقائهم. وحيث أن العرب الأمريكيين جلبوا قيما عائلية قوية والتزاما عميقا بالتعليم وروح الابتكار والتفاني في المشاركة المدنية وتعزيز نسيج مجتمعاتنا وديمقراطياتنا. وحيث أنه على الرغم من مساهماتهم العديدة فإن تاريخ العرب الأمريكيين وتجاربهم غالبا ما يتم تجاهلها وتحريفها، ولا يزال العرب الأمريكيون يواجهون تحديات مثل التمييز والصور النمطية الضارة والتحيز. Thank you. جزيلا.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board of Directors. Good evening, everyone. مساء الخير للجميع. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Rita Samu, and I am the office tech at Garden Home Rec Center. This time, reading the proclamation in Arabic is very special because it's my first time doing it as a U.S. citizen. I moved to the U.S. 8 years ago, and THPRD was my first job. So it is not just like a job to me, it means way more. And the work that we do is really impactful, and I appreciate this opportunity. And I'll go ahead and continue. وحيث أن الاعتقاد الخاطئ الشائع هو أن جميع العرب مسلمون، في حين أن العرب الأمريكيين يأتون في الواقع من خلفيات دينية متنوعة. هناك مجتمع كبير من المسيحيين العرب الذي تعايشوا منذ فترة طويلة مع المجتمعات المسلمة عبر التاريخ، مما يعكس تراثا غنيا ومتنوعا يمثل جزء من التجربة العربية الأمريكية، ومع ذلك يساء فهمه أو تجاهله في كثير من الأحيان. وحيث أن تعزيز التعليم والوعي والتفاهم بين الثقافات أمر ضروري لتعزيز الشمولية والإنصاف والاحترام للمجتمعات العربية الأمريكية. وحيث أن الاعتراف بتراث العرب الأمريكيين وقدرتهم على الصمود والإنجاز والاحتفاء به يساعد في بناء مجتمع أكثر شمولا وتحدي. الآن لذلك يعلن مجلس إدارة Tualatin Hills Parks and Recreation District عن شهر نيسان 2025 على إنه شهر التراث العربي الأمريكي، ونحث جميع أولئك الموجودين في Tualatin Hills Parks and Recreation District على دعم وتأسيس هذا الاحتفال. تم التوقيع في اليوم 9 من أبريل نيسان 2025. باربي ماينر الرئيس، ألفريدو مورينو سكرتير.
I've got, if you'd like to have a photo, we're happy to with you all. Come on. Let's. Whichever phone. And then
Mine, probably in front.
Please join us. Yeah. We'll flank you. We'll be on the
With-
side.
in the middle?
You're the guest.
Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, scoot more.
Can we make it faster because I will hold my breath. So my body.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate you all. Okay, and we're gonna keep moving with our proclamations, and if my guests who are here tonight for our Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month could start to make their way, I will do the same and offer some introductions. Chelsea Huber is an inclusion assistant for THPRD, a patron of THPRD's programs and services, and an autistic person. Chelsea has worked with various populations of people experiencing disabilities, including autism spectrum disorder, throughout her life. She strives to be an advocate for people in the autism community and the larger disability community. Chelsea staunchly believes in the power of autism acceptance and the power of recreation and helping people live fulfilling lives. Sophia Nichols is also here this evening, and Sophia is the Inclusion Program Specialist at Garden Home Recreation Center and will be reading the proclamation. Thank you both for being here this evening, and if you'd like to share any additional comments, feel free, and then we'll read the proclamation.
Hi, like you said, I'm Chelsea Huber. I just want to thank the board and THPRD as an organization for giving me the opportunity to have a place to work and be a patron that accepts me for who I am. With that, I'll begin. Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District proclamation by the Board of Directors. Whereas autism is a naturally occurring form of neurodiversity that affects people of all racial, ethnic, gender, and socioeconomic backgrounds, influencing the way individuals experience and interact with the world, and whereas autism is a part of the daily lives of millions of individuals and families, and while progress has been made in increasing acceptance and support, there is still work to do in fostering inclusive communities where people with autism can thrive. And whereas THPRD is committed to ensuring that people with autism have equitable access to recreation and services that support their well-being, joy, and personal growth. And whereas THPRD is a leader in access for all, championing inclusive services so people of all abilities can fully participate in programs and activities. And
good evening. You'll hear more from me later, so I'll just keep reading. Whereas THPRD is proud to offer year-round adaptive programming, adaptive swim lessons, and special events, ensuring that neurodivergent individuals and their families have meaningful opportunities for recreation and connection. Now, therefore, the Board of Directors of Tualatin Hills Parks and Recreation District does hereby declare the month of April 2025 as Autism Acceptance and Awareness Month, and encourages the community to celebrate neurodiversity, foster inclusivity, and support autistic individuals in leading fulfilling lives. Now, therefore, the Board of Directors of Tualatin Hills Parks and Recreation District does hereby declare the month of April 2025 as Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, and do urge all those in Tualatin Hills Parks and Recreation District to support and promote this observance.
Thank you both. Let's repeat. For being here. Sorry. Honey, look beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, and our next folks who are here to present for our National Volunteer Month. If you could start to make your way, I'll do the same and read some introductions. Natasha Fisher is a PGE employee who's trained to help staff lead volunteer projects as a stewardship leader, which she does with great enthusiasm and sometimes, if you're lucky, homemade baked goods. Margaret Robinson, who's volunteered on the Levy Task Force and is the current president of the Friends of Elsie Stir Center. She has, in so many ways, made this facility more welcoming and inclusive to all by supporting subsidized class options and fostering social connections that improve the lives of our elders. Jeff Wayman, who's a regular volunteer with our district's track and field, plus cross-country activities, and with local middle schools, is also here this evening. We also have 2 youth volunteer champions. I think I might actually be looking at you all. Here we go. Fossil Soleil, did I correct? Yes? Okay. You correct me. I want to get it right. Okay. Has been a junior lifeguard at Conestoga for the last 3 years, putting in over 620 hours of his time since he started. Yeah. Andrew True, who's been a RISE youth volunteer leader with THPRD, has spent the last 3 summers volunteering with camps at Cedar Hills Rec Center. And Karishma Chidambaram, you correct me. Chidambaram, okay, let me try that again. Karishma Chidambaram has been a member of the district's Program and Events Advisory Committee, as well as joining our Levy Task Force last year. Thank you all for being here, and you've seen our tour, so if you'd like to make some personal comments, feel free, but we're welcoming you into our space and excited to hear the proclamation with you this evening. It's truly up to your discretion. If you would prefer to just read the proclamation, we can do that. If you want to do a little intro, you can do that as well. Whatever you're comfortable with, zero pressure. Can you just hit the button? It helps with our online folks being able to hear.
Hi, my name is Angie True, and I have loved volunteering at THPRD, and it's seriously one of my favorite things to do during the summer. So it's an honor being able to be recognized by you guys. So thank you so much. And I'm just going to go ahead and read my proclamation. Whereas volunteerism is about giving, contributing, and helping others throughout the community. And THPRD would not be able to achieve all that we do without the gift of service and the dedication of our volunteers. And whereas THPRD's volunteers serve in a variety of ways, from helping with cultural and community events, park and natural area improvement projects, youth leadership programs, sport leagues, senior programs, and so much more. And
you can even move the mic if you want. It's movable. So whatever's easiest for y'all.
Hi, my name is Basil. Volunteering with THPRD at Conestoga has been a big part of my life. I've been there a lot. The lifeguards over there. The lifeguards over there, they usually joke like, "You practically live here. What are you doing?" A lot of people have been kind of mentors to me, like Emily and Stephanie over there, and Matt and Laura. They're not here today, but they're the supervisor there. They're also really great people. I love to talk to them. Whereas last year, more than 3,400 people contributed over 28,000 hours to THPRD, and whereas the estimated value of our volunteers' contributions to THPRD is over $977,000, underscoring the tremendous impact of their time, skills, and dedication. And
my name's Jeff Foreman. I've been volunteering since 2014 as a way to just give back to the community since I've enjoyed this community since 1973 when I moved here. It's easy to volunteer when you're volunteering to help good people, and you have a lot of good people in this district. So my proclamation, whereas volunteerism fosters connection, breaks down barriers, and provides opportunities for people of all backgrounds to engage in meaningful service that enhances our parks, programs, and natural areas. And
Hi, my name is Krishna. I'm just gonna continue the proclamation and then make some comments later. Whereas THPRD's volunteers help fulfill our mission to provide high-quality parks and recreation facilities, programs, services, and natural spaces that meet the needs of our diverse and growing community.
And I'm Margaret Robinson. I'm happy to and honored to represent the Elsie Stir Center. And I want to comment that the staff at the Elsie Stir Center is exceptional. Just want to say that. That way they'll treat me nice. Through their generosity, enthusiasm, and commitment, volunteers create a lasting and positive impact that strengthens community ties, inspires others to get involved, and helps ensure that our parks and programs remain welcoming, inclusive, and accessible to all. And whereas National Volunteer Month serves as a time to express our deep gratitude to all those who give their time and their talent to support THPRD and to encourage more individuals to engage in volunteerism as a way to enrich our community and themselves.
Thank you so much, Margaret. That was very well said. I just want to take a moment before I complete the proclamation to say it is an absolute honor and a pleasure to spend this evening with all of you, to be recognized for the work that all of us volunteers have done and will always continue to do in this community and throughout all of the communities in this wonderful state. It makes me very happy to stand in the pouring rain with people I don't know, having conversations about ridiculous and wonderful things, looking at bugs and encouraging people younger, equal of age and older than me from various different echelons of society. We're all there for the same reason. It is to give back to our community. It is to represent ourselves and each other in the way that we choose and want to be. And it's also to ensure that this lovely land that we get to spend some time and be stewards on is cared for in the way that it should be. And so to complete the proclamation, now therefore the Board of Directors of the Tualatin Hills Parks and Recreation District does hereby declare the month of April 2025 as National Volunteer Month, and do urge all those in the Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District to support and promote the observance. Signed this day, the 9th day of April 2025, by Barbara Miner, President, and Alfredo Moreno, Secretary. Thank you all so very much.
How are you? How are you? Nice to see you. Oh, thank you. Here's your advisory board. Over here, guys. Did them to come up? Our business cards? Nice.
Must be in the front, I'll be in the back. I need to hide things.
Around. We're all volunteers.
Okay, we ready? All right, look great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I will just offer my appreciation. I know that takes a moment to orchestrate, and we had 3 this evening and multiple presenters, and you all did so wonderfully. So thank you again for being here and being in community with us and sharing your personal connection to the district. With that, we will move on to our next agenda item. We've got audience time up first for our community members who have signed up for the public comment period and those listening online. The public comment period is an essential part of local government meetings. All of us on the board of directors are grateful for your participation and will take your input into consideration. Before we welcome audience members to speak, I do want to acknowledge that we've updated our audience time process this month. This is in recognition that the board has scheduled business to conduct at board meetings, and in order to ensure we are able to complete our regularly scheduled business, we need to better manage the time we allow for audience time, particularly on issues that are not on this evening's agenda. Unplanned agenda items discussed during audience time can make it hard for us to get through our planned business in a timely and efficient way. However, we still want to allow for a meaningful amount of time for members of the public to speak to the board on any topic they wish. In an effort to balance these issues, I've asked staff to provide me with options for better managing audience time to allow us to meet both goals. 1, having ample time for people to speak on any issue, and 2, ensuring we get through our full meeting agenda in a reasonable time frame. I think we've come up with a workable approach that we will be piloting this evening. However, this is a pilot, and I welcome feedback from the public and my peers on the board as we try this new approach. We will be welcoming people to speak first on items that are on the scheduled board agenda. Those speakers will have 3 minutes apiece, may only speak once this evening, and again, the subject they wish to address the board on must be on the board's agenda. After we've heard from anyone who wishes to speak on an agenda topic, we will then welcome speakers on any issue that is not scheduled on this evening's agenda. This can be on any topic. However, we will be placing a collective 30-minute limit on all non-board agenda-related topics. We welcome people to speak in the order in which they signed up for speaking this evening. After the 30 minutes has expired, we will not be able to accommodate any more audience time. However, we welcome members of the public to share their feedback in writing. Staff will make copies and ensure all board members and the general manager receive a copy of written testimony. Please remember that each person who has signed up to speak has 3 minutes, and you may only address the board once this evening. This is not a time for dialogue, but rather an opportunity for us to listen. We'll ask our general manager to follow up you as appropriate. So with that, I think we've only got 2 folks here who've signed up this evening, so I will call Jane Tram as our first person, and next up should be Sydney McReynolds, if you'd like to be prepared. And if you could please state your name and zip code for the record, and we've got 3 minutes. Thank you for being here. Oh, hi. Hopefully that thing in front of you, once we start our timer, it should tick down for you as well, and then the lights go.
Thank you so much. Board President, members of the board, record my name is Jane Tram, 97006. On September 14th, 2022, the board meeting notes indicate that language about affiliate language was supposed to move from Chapter 7 to Chapter 8. Instead, 7.164 unique services and 7.165 capacity were actually not moved, they were removed. This removal was not reflected in the board minutes, meeting minutes, so there was no transparency with that. Removal of 7.16 from the DCPs was effective November 12, 2022. Lack of 7.16 language of DCPs allowed affiliate process to potentially be impacted by bias. So for example, last month, I mentioned that in September 2023, paperwork was signed for our club in September of 2023 that later changed the next month suddenly with no transparency. So when language moved out of policy, it allowed basically bias potentially to occur with no oversight. So my request as a community member is 7.16 language needs to be restored to the THPRD DCP to ensure there's actually a clear policy and procedure in place, which is currently lacking. Any changes to DCP and affiliate process needs to be vetted and not changed based on potential whims, biases, or possible conflicts of interest. Based on the non-transparent changes with affiliate status, it's not clear that you as board members even know that these changes occurred, since there was no transparency in the board minute meetings or anything else. So I request that actually put back into policy. Given the lack of transparency at a number of points, it's incumbent upon THPRD to ensure that THSB is actually not negatively impacted by these changes. Now, I'm not sure how the new swim team affiliate obtained affiliate status if these non-transparent changes had not been made, because there was no capacity in the 50-meter pool space, as we clearly heard during the last board meeting, and this other new team does not actually offer unique services compared to us. So based on the data I presented last month, when you look at diversity across all domains of ethnicity, when you look at gender identity, sexual orientation, disability status, our team is diverse. When you look at financial accessibility, our team offers up to a 50% discount, actually a 50% discount if people meet the means tested methods that THPRD itself uses for discounted services. So my kids actually we were on the back team. And when my kids moved over to the THSB, my daughter fees were actually lower than they were on the prior team. So I only say this because if the rationale to add the affiliate was either financial accessibility or diversity, I would question those potential aspects. It's not that they're not deserving of space, but I just want to ensure that our team is not negatively impacted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And Sydney McReynolds. Welcome. If you could say your name and zip code for the record, and then we'll start our time.
Hello, Sydney McReynolds, 97229. This is my 3rd time coming to the board within the last 2 months. First is your mid-year budget meeting at your March board meeting, and again today for your board meeting. Thank you for having me. I am a special education advocate. I work as an occupational therapist focusing on inclusion, equity, diversity, and supporting students in schools with disabilities. I have 2 swimmers. I am on the board of directors for the Tualatin Hill Swim Club, and I'm here today to talk about the affiliation process and the impact to our swimmers. I hadn't planned to speak today, but I'm also not known for leaving empty space and missed opportunities to speak. When we were here last month, March 12th, we spent, to the point of your new policy, over 2.5 hours of testimony from our swimmers, parents, voting members, your community members who are connected to THSC. We articulated our longstanding relationship and affiliation status with THPRD. Our swimmers expressed confusion and frustration and identified the problematic lack of internal policies within THPRD. Tonight, your team are presenting your equity strategy, which I'm really excited to see. It's a strategy much needed. It outlines your data-driven approach to your community needs. Our swim team, THSC, as Jane may have mentioned last meeting and again today, our swimmers are 72% identifying as people of color, 76.8% as speaking a language other than English as their primary language, in addition to the other demographic information we provided at the last meeting. Your strategy looks at DEI AB partnerships and has a goal of expanding with your current partnerships. We are right here. We are 300 members strong. To the point of your testimonies tonight and your with your volunteers, the 3 young people who spoke here today and were awarded the Volunteer of the Year all spoke to the amount of hours and partnership that it takes to run the park district. It's not just about trails or something that you're doing in isolation. It takes an entire community, and we're here to work with you as we have been for almost 75 years. Please continue to prioritize our longstanding relationship and to continue to engage with Charlton Hill Swim Club. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you all being here this evening. Okay, moving along, I believe our next item of business is to talk with my peers on our committee liaison updates. Would anyone like to go first?
I have to go first.
Yeah, has passed.
Oh.
Or I can look to Miles online.
I can go. We can go. I don't have any specific report out I want to do. I just was honestly just feeling a lot of gratitude for everyone who's in the room and just looking at the amount of people that were in the audience and who came up and gave testimony and read proclamations. I think just seeing the real life faces and names and smiles and of the breadth of folks that THPRD serves and who give back to THPRD and make it what it is just almost like a very emotional thing. A lot of what we do at the board level is this stuff and perusing the fine print and glasses up and down. And I think to see the touch and the emotional feel of it all is really impactful. The district, I think, we're all serving on this board because we believe in the mission and where the district is trying to go. Is it 100% perfect with every single step? I don't know of a large government entity that is, or a large company that is, or a large club or anything of size that is, or anything. So, but I think we have earnest people here really trying to make this community a better place. And it's, I've really been touched. And I couldn't help but think of my old friend, Frank Angelo, who passed away a few years ago as a super volunteer for THPRD, and how proud he would be of all the energy in the room tonight. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Director Moreno.
Please, yeah, I don't like going after Alfredo. Much appreciation to everyone who made the proclamations possible. Absolutely wonderful. I'll just share there's so much happening at the Parks District. I cannot keep up in the best way. The Eid celebration on Sunday was amazing. Like so many people, just so wonderful. Thank you. I know that was so many leaders that made that happen. So thank you. I went to Rep. Wanatabi's first town hall, which was great. She's our new rep for one of the new reps for the area. No, so it wasn't a big surprise of what people were talking about in terms of budget line items at the state. I want to share that all of you are invited for a tour of the Washington County Courthouse at the end of the month. You should have got an invitation. I always find it fascinating what our peers are asking for from the state in terms of capital, and the county is asking for a new courthouse. So I was like, well, I want to go learn more. And then I wanted to share about my swimming journey, which is going pretty darn well. And while I would not say I am a swimmer by any means, I will say that I like swimming. And teacher Jill is amazing. And I can hold my own in the backstroke. That's about it. Room to improve. So just so much appreciation for the teachers, and like just Harmon is just this little wonderful community. And I'm so glad to be a part of it. So thank you. Yeah, 86 degrees.
Director Palacios, I know you were online and I apologize that we're having some technical issues. I'm tossing it to you to just see if we're able to have you come off mute if you have any comments you'd like to share with us from committee updates or other board updates.
Can you hear me at all?
I know we can see your square lighting up, but unfortunately in the room, we're not able to hear you. I do apologize, Miles. Yep, save it for next time, but I will also say if we want them to be in the record, if we want could he email us his updates? Sure. Yeah, if you'd like, let's do that as our backup plan. We can email them, that way they at least can get into our minutes, and they can be recorded for the record.
He just got back to us. No updates, but that he can share, he will share next month.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Miles. Much appreciated. I will echo Director Monteblanco's comments. Been very, very busy. I think that this was an evening tonight that testifies and is an example of the breadth of community touch points that we have. We've had 2 incredible back-to-back weekends with our Nuevo Mexico event over at Conestoga, which was a first time for me attending. And in celebration, there was 3.5 hours of continual dancing. That was so moving for me to observe. The stamina, the dedication, the joy, the celebration. Got to see Director Moreno there as well with his little munchkin. So just fantastic to be then followed up the very next weekend, head over for our EAT event over at HMT. Also very well attended and as spoken into, just beautiful to see community and together. And the one thing that I can assure, and I'm just going to take this moment to give the praise, as I'm speaking to folks, Lulu and Jazz and Holly, the names, just Karen, everyone just comes up to me and thanks us for the partnership and the intentional collaboration. And it is just so heartwarming to not only be in this space and to be able to experience and learn more myself and push into spaces that I may not have been exposed to before and get to learn more, but to also have that flip side of those who are doing the hard work to put these events on are recognizing our staff and that important, meaningful partnership. So I just wanted to echo the sentiments and let you all know that your names are being spoken and the events are flawless, and just share in gratitude. So thank you so much for that. And I will echo some of the comments that were made earlier from the proclamation. I just want to share with folks that we have so many events going on that are listed on our website. And so when we say, please check us out and engage in activities for our Autism Awareness Month or for Arab Heritage American Month, et cetera, please do check out our website and make sure that you're taking advantage of all of those incredible open to the public events. All of my comments for myself. So I think from there we can move along and I would consider a motion for consent.
I move that the board approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
Lindsay, could you take a vote?
Monteblanco. Yes. Alfredo Moreno.
Yes.
Tia Ping. Yes. Miles Palacios.
He's going to text his answer, I bet you.
Yeah.
Minor.
Okay, aye. Miles on the record, aye. And yes, aye. Okay, consent agenda has passed, which means we can move on to our next item, which is unfinished business. And I do believe we've got an update on our equity strategy. I believe our presenters Lulu Ballesteros and Holly Thompson will be here this evening. So looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks. I promise I hadn't turned the page to be reminded that you were next. I did not give you accolades because you were coming to the mic.
It's common when you're with Lulu, you're going to hear how much everyone loves Lulu. Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Holly Thompson, Communications Director, joined by
Lulu Ballesteros, a Great Engagement Manager at THPRD.
And it is our privilege this evening to talk to you about the district-wide equity strategy. So when we last spoke, we talked about the concept of the equity strategy and our approach. We want to just give you some reminders and an update on where we're at. And this is just a progress update. So the next time you see us, we'll have a draft that we'll get to kind of work through and get your feedback and thoughts on. But tonight we're focusing on a progress update. So when we came to you with the concept of an equity strategy, we really laid out that we wanted to have a thoughtful, adaptive, and respectful approach. We wanted it to be proactive and we wanted it to be transparent and accountable. So we want to talk about our district values, our goals, what we're trying to reach, but we also need to measure and figure out what success looks like. But we wanted it to have a shorter lifespan, right? We wanted it to be adaptive and flexible because this work changes quickly. And on the next slide, you can see that our feeling was the traditional planning process didn't fit our needs. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the traditional planning process. It makes a lot of sense for things that you're working on that have a very long horizon to get there. But, you know, as Lulu and I had so many people coming to us and saying, where's THPRD's equity plan? Where's THPRD's equity plan? You know, for the last several years, we've been so focused on doing the work, we hadn't taken the time to kind of write down the more academic, the more cerebral way to think about doing the work. And as we were wrestling with, well, golly, they really want a plan out of this. What are we going to do? We just couldn't do a plan. We wanted to do a strategy. And it's really because this structure feels so dominant culture mannered. And this work is anything but that, right? And what you've seen tonight is a demonstration of that, right? People come, people go, organizations come, organizations go, partners change, opportunities change. And we need to be adaptive and flexible. And we can't have a plan that says what we're going to do in 5 to 10 years because it just doesn't work in this work. And on the next slide, I think one thing that we want to address is even since we last spoke on the development of our equity strategy, we're going through a lot as a nation, as a country, as communities. There has been a real disinvestment in equity work at the national level, at state level. We've seen organizations even in Oregon, which, you know, we think we're very left and we lean towards this work. Now we've seen disinvestment here too. And that really lends itself to making a strategy make more sense. And one thing that we wanted to express is just how absolutely honored we are to work at THPRD today, that we're still living our values, that we're still committed to this work, that we're not going to shy away from this work because we understand the data. We understand that you have to center race because it is the most predictive outcome of where people end up in life. And these things are real and they need to be addressed. And I do want to say thank you personally to Lulu because there was a moment in time when we sent out a message to all of our community partners. It was written by Lulu. It was sent to 3,000 people on our distribution list. And we just wanted to send a message that at a time where people are getting so many negative messages, so many things are to divide us, to make us go into our conflicts, right? To make us go and separate, how vital it is that everyone in the community understands THPRD is open and welcoming to everyone. Everyone belongs. And, you know, one thing that I think is really incumbent upon Park and Rec right now is to realize we're some of the last stewards of spaces where people really have the opportunity to cross-pollinate. They really have the opportunity to talk to people who think differently than them, who recreate differently than them, who celebrate differently than them, and still get along and enjoy the hallway while your kids are in a parenting, or in a kid activity, enjoying a sporting activity. We have those spaces where there's not a device that's predetermined by an algorithm to only feed you the same information and reinforce your biases. You have the opportunity to open your eyes and experience and see different things. So it has only reinforced our commitment, the changes that we've experienced over the last several months, that this strategy is right on, and that it's more important than ever as stewards of public spaces that we not only lean into this work, but we celebrate it and we champion it so that we continue to have space where people can think differently, come together.
Hello, everyone. We wanted to share equity strategy. So who is involved in this work? So really it's everyone. We have board of directors, management team, and we have a core work team representing folks from all over the district so they can provide input about what's feasible, what we already are working on, what's coming up. And we have Anne, Bruce, Holly, Stephen, Kenya, and myself. But then we also have these other key work groups, internal work groups, most of them. For example, BIA liaisons, which is supervisors around the district that they are either leading BIA work or are supervising folks leading that work. We also have the Welcome and Inclusive group that it's our employee-led, very action-oriented group. Gender inclusion team that does a ton of work in reviewing this strategy as well. We're seeing the Joint Advisory Committee next week. We're going to be talking about equity strategy. And of course, we do want to go back to community partners with whom we're working with currently, and that they know us from different perspectives, meaning maybe we've done programming with them, we've done community engagement with them, and they're also participated at Centro de Bienvenida. So they can really provide feedback and they deeply know us. So we think of Arabic House, Oregon Chinese Coalition, Unite Oregon. And then staff feedback. How does this look like, this engagement, this internal engagement? Well, it's brainstorming sessions of either sending out information to these groups or attending their meetings and providing all the information, what we're thinking about, and that way staff can provide feedback. The element that we're contemplating is identifying what we're currently up to, what is already in progress. Of course, second thing, what we anticipate that's coming up. And then we don't want to miss the opportunity to collect that wish list, the things that we would like to see in long-term vision. There's other themes that we've talked about, which is finding best ways to collaborate even more with each other between teams and divisions. Also, I think everybody's talking about this. We want to tell the THPRD equity story in a very intentional and open way that's available internally and externally. And then also recognize in the many things that we're already doing, like take pause. Sometimes with equity work, we get so excited, we want to keep moving, but we need to take pause, evaluate, and celebrate. We wanted to share a little bit about metrics. This is where we got to geek out a little bit. So we wanted a framework, right, of how are we going to measure, what are the tools, what are the methods. So we explored a ton of things, a few of the ones that you have here on the slide. For example, just a couple to give you an idea, Government Alliance on Race and Equity, they have a toolkit that's giving form to the whole strategy. But then we also have another racial equity impact assessment that has a lot of support for if we want to try an equity lens, let's say, for when staff are preparing programming, are thinking about an event or going out into community engagement, what's the lens that I can use? So the list goes on, but I won't speak up. Then when we came to see you all back in October, we shared that we're trying to organize the work in 4 main areas. Everything that we do, access to programs, activities, and spaces, programming with an equitable and inclusive approach, BIA and belonging partnerships, and strengthening organizational capacity for equity work. However, how do we link that information to the latest trends? So what we came up with is 3 dimensions of what equity success. The focus is access and participation, and that's removing barriers, and then increasing equitable use of the offerings that we have. Then we have experience and inclusion that focuses on the very intentional design of programming of spaces, the delivery, and the cultural responsiveness. The last one is organizational change and learning. And for this one, it's very internal, of course. It's a lot of that has to do with systems, how they change, and focus on staff. With this is only an example because we didn't want to go into too many details, but to give you an idea what this will look like. If we take the first area, access to programs, activities, and spaces. For that one, we're going to hit a dimension, access and participation. If we use the example of Centro de Bienvenida, you can measure success or express it by going to demographic breakdown, what's the language spoken at home, what is their people's identities, participation and trends from historically underrepresented communities. Maybe we have higher participation in our fitness programs, the why and who they are, reduction of barriers, expanded multilingual outreach, community feedback, and so on. So if we take a look at Centro, there's tons more to share, but as an example, the increase of English language learners that we have engaged divided by language. Storytelling, let's say inclusion services is the latest addition for Centro. What are they doing and up to increasing attendance for Centro and the many things they're doing to let community know about this service at Centro. Collection of participant testimonials, that's always a must in many of our programming because it really tells you the story about what people are looking for and the sentiment that we're delivering service. Last idea we had as an example, data gathering on Centro patrons programming preferences. So for example, I'm gonna do a shout out to Leilani, our grant writer. We were talking about this. So people come to Centro, what did they find? What they were looking for? Is there something that we're missing? How do we best adapt? So sky's the limit. It's a lot of information that we really wanna see and develop into a one beautiful document. And we really want to be very, very intentional in incorporating these tools that we're talking about to see how we can track and analyze. So we're very transparent and we really truly report back to the community on a yearly basis. And the last thing, I'm going to repeat it again, THPRD equity story. How do we deliver this in a meaningful and accessible way internally, but also with community? Is it a video? Is it having a beautiful PDF document that we get to share with partners as we chat with them? Things like that.
So with that, that's kind of the summary of our update, but I just want to share, when you see us again, we will have the draft document for you. It's funny, Barbie, when you were talking about all the events and all the activities going on, this is one of those things that every time we try to catalog and capture across the organization, all the types and examples of equity work that are happening, it's a really huge undertaking. And I really want to credit Lulu and Jazz and the team going out and talking with all the pockets of the organization because it's happening everywhere. There are professionals in recreation throughout all of our centers that are working every day centering this work. We have folks in park services doing the same thing. We have folks in finance thinking about how to expand MWESE. We have folks in HR thinking about how to remove those barriers and increase participation in the organization. We have Julie's leadership and others on the Diversify program. So there's just so much activity, and it's so important to us that this equity strategy capture and elevate the work that is happening in an organized way throughout the district, because while we are amazingly blessed to have Lulu, there's so much work happening everywhere across the organization and so much in it. And it really has taken us more time than we expected to have those meaningful conversations, capture the data, and put the information together.
If I could add before the board jumps in with feedback, it's obvious we're really working on Lulu and Polly. Your passion, just wow, really impressive work. And I think to acknowledge, particularly Holly's last comment, is the work we do together is pretty remarkable. But we can only do it within the space that the board provides us. And those value statements are serious statements that we then simply turn the staff loose.
Yours, any comments, questions, feedback?
Kudos. Yeah. I love it. I mean, in a political time when people are shying away from it, I feel like this is our time if we're even doubling down on it. And I think that's the only way really we can be successful with our past bonds and stuff. We're special in that we are tax paid only, not funded from the state or anything, which allows us to kind of give us, you know, a reason to do this, and that's to make sure we expand opportunities for everyone, expand create a welcoming space, expand usage of all of our facilities and parks and trails and programming. And so only when people can find themselves in these spaces and find connections in these spaces and make sure they feel welcome when they walk in is when we're all successful, and when we prove what we're needed for or what we're paid for is of why people value us. Because once people lose that or they don't see themselves in these programs, then what is the point of all that we do? So I appreciate our staff so much. You guys are the gold standard. I don't think any of us have ever felt that we give you guys something and you guys are not able to do it. If anything, you expand and blow our minds to something that we can't even predict or imagine. And so we are just so grateful. And yes, we always hear the accolades of Lulu and Holly and everybody in all of our teams. And so we just are so grateful for you guys and so grateful for our work. And the community sees it and will continue to see it. I totally have faith in that. Yes, thank you.
Okay. I feel like a good measurement might be are the board members' phones blowing up with compliments for the staff? And it's so funny because it's just like, yeah, that's the staff. They're amazing. And I know that a lot of it starts with us as the board of sharing our values. And I am just so proud of a board that is so reflective of the community. It looks really different than it did 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago. I want to give major kudos to Holly. Holly, you and I started this THPRD leadership journey together. This is amazing work. You have moved a cruise ship in the opposite direction. And the people you've hired, Centro is amazing. And I know that came from your heart. So sincerest appreciation for your leadership and all that. I want to mention that because I don't have much time left on this board, I want to mention that I hope we can do some work around disability justice. I have zero expertise. I have been lucky enough to be schooled a little bit in the topic. And we absolutely should continue to lead with race. And we should look at the tenets of disability justice and make sure that we are reviewing those and challenging ourselves. And, you know, I'm so glad, Lulu, the presentation had access and participation, because it's not just access. You've all heard me talk about it's not just access, so I won't go into it. So just amazing work. So proud. Keep it up. Thank you.
Can I say one thing to that? That's so sweet of you, but I want to turn that spotlight over to Rita, because I want to say I was so moved by you this evening, and you do amazing work at Garden Home. And if you want to see like peer support and mentorship, I got to stand next to Emily while Rita was talking, and she had tears in her eyes. And so, you know, there's nothing better than seeing the Ritas, the Lulus, and everyone else shine. And it is about hiring great people and getting the heck out of their way and doing what they tell you they need you to do, basically.
That's what makes you a great manager.
Yeah, so I'll have, I'm sure I'll have lots to say about this as we keep reviewing, but I wanted to offer just some thoughts where we are right now. I think, as Felicitas mentioned, or somebody mentioned, everyone mentioned, everyone's thinking it. We have such, right, the E word, equity and everything is such a conversation point right now. And I think it's easy for us in Beaverton, the Portland Metro, to focus only on the threat. I think it's an opportunity to kind of think kind of deeply about what it all means to us in light of hearing very strong opinions about what it means and feels for other people, most of whom aren't as vocal in our community. But for me, I've been like just really being thoughtful and thinking about how my opinions have changed, evolved, grown from 2021 when I first ran for this seat to now. I'd like to say, to me, speaking as myself, equity is not an ideology. It's a practical approach to creating positive outcomes that benefits the greater community and serves the greater good. I think that's what we do. I don't want it to get conflated with whatever voting record is whose. I think it's the work we do and you see and we've put forth and will put forth is things that benefit the greater community, that give people more access to our resources, that help people become healthier, that help people become safer. I think that is such a boring and not very cool to put on your Instagram stories, but it's like that is such a core part. And it's the slide you had about the metrics. Outcomes-based equity work to show that it's not just empty words. We're not just taking a posture to check the box of, hey, we said the thing and we got applause. Look at the people who we're touching, So look at the crowds that are coming in from Maharaba and that allow it to keep coming, and the people who did not have a place to gather and celebrate prior, and look at the ripple that's creating to maybe open more doors and expand access. So thank you all for that work. I really do look forward to seeing what you're going to come with. I hope that I know you will. You'll leverage our excellent community engagement to kind of see where this work will go in the future from where it's been, right? It doesn't stay static. People's opinions ebb and flow. We're always finding the community ebbs and flows. We're always finding people who have different thoughts and ideas about opportunities for us, things we can do better. I have full faith in your abilities to connect with our community at large and find those stories. And to Felicia's point, I think I can't help but think this board is a story in itself, that for somebody like me to join this board and not really ever once feel too concerned about being an imposter. Well, kind of. I don't know all the stuff all that well. But as far as identity-based and who I am in this community, to feel like this was a place I could step in and be impactful is a testament to everyone here and to Miles and to those who will join us next. So I do think this table is part of that narrative, and I'm really proud for that as well. So long-winded. Sorry, Madam President.
I thank you all. I don't have I can't say it better than my peers already have. And I know my feelings and thoughts already. So in the interest of time, I will just say, thank you, Director Monteblanco. Thank you, Director Moreno. Thank you, Director Ping. Thank you, Director Palacios. And thank you all for the tremendous work. Looking forward to seeing next steps. Appreciate y'all. Okay.
If I could, I do have a message. I do have a message from.
Okay. This just in, breaking news.
From beyond. Proud of doubling down on our values, leading with integrity, and defining equity with actions. Great work, staff.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Doug. And thank you, Miles. Okay, well, ironically, Mr. Menke, I think you are up next. We've got our general manager's report, but I believe Sophia and Beth will be joining first.
Do that.
Whenever you're, as long as your mic is on, whenever you're ready.
Testing. Good evening, Board of Directors. I'm Sophia Nichols, the Program Specialist for Inclusion Services. I'm joined tonight by my colleague, Beth Imus. We are here today to update you on inclusion services and talk about the changes that have occurred over the last 7 months. Our mission is to provide recreational programs that allow people to recreate, promoting the power of choice and enhancing quality of life. In the photos displayed, we have our spring break adventure camp, Camp Rivendell, and therapeutic recreation nights. In addition to this variety of activities, we have enhanced our department offerings by increasing our department accessibility, participating in the district's Centro de Bienvenida event, and providing business cards with Braille on them. At our last event for spring term, a parent who wanted to contact the program was able to do so independently because we had adapted our business cards to meet their needs. Additionally, we streamlined the request for inclusion support, creating a QR code for ease of access. And then finally, our inclusion success plans have gotten more robust, containing participant goals, sensory preferences, behavior patterns, and relevant medical information. In collaboration with families, teachers, and therapists, we provide this plan to inclusion assistance. By working together, everyone has the same goals. For example, we had a patron whose goal was to increase verbal communication. I'm happy to report this person is now using 1 to 2 words more in programs and at school as a result of this collaboration. Since fall last year, we have seen rapid growth in our registrations for programs and requests for inclusion support. In FY23, we supported 69 patrons, and that number continues to grow with our current total at 98. At this rate, we are projecting 139 in the next fiscal year. Beth and I are supporting 21 to 25 patrons, depending on the month. But not only are we processing their support requests, but creating inclusion success plans, continued observations, documenting their progress, and working with facilities on how to properly support our participants. Beth is now going to talk to you about some of our program offerings.
Good evening, Board of Directors. My name is Beth Imus. I'm the Adaptive and Inclusion Program. All activity is inherently therapeutic. With our programming, we try to enhance the therapeutic benefit by providing opportunities for peer engagement and adaptation. One example of this is our therapeutic recreation nights. We run programs that engage patrons in multiple activities. On Mondays, a very popular program is trivia and bingo night. In order to engage our nonverbal participants, we provide this communication switch. This allows nonverbal patrons to be more independent by pushing the button to communicate. This isn't too long. Bingo! Instead of relying on others. In addition to TR programs, we've partnered with many departments and facilities across the district to offer adaptive weight room circuit, all-stars basketball and wheelchair basketball, inclusive yoga, spring break adventure camp, adaptive swim lessons, and group swims with Down Syndrome Network Oregon. We're also co-facilitating special events, including the spring celebration, with a sensory-friendly egg hunt located at Mountain View Champions Park. This event has been going in partnership with Autism Society of Oregon since 2018. 2025 event occurred on March 22nd, and we had over 250 attendees. Future co-facilitated events include Art Without Limits, our Silent Disco, Try for All Triathlon, and in August, we're going on an outing to the Bonneville Dam. I'm humbled to say that this upcoming summer will be my 8th summer working on Camp Rivendell. Camp Rivendell gives campers, staff, and volunteers the opportunity to be authentically themselves in an environment that's truly inclusive. This outdoor-based camp serves patrons with a wide variety of abilities and adapts all activities from swimming to hiking. This summer, We're adjusting Camp Rivendell to meet our patrons' sensory needs by offering camp from 9 a.m. We hope that this change creates a more inclusive environment and will allow patrons with limited activity tolerance to attend the entire camp. Last summer, 170 campers attended camp. A parent shared, quote, "My daughter Abigail has been attending Camp Rivendell for 10 years. Before finding Rivendell, we tried having Abigail go to traditional camp programs with an aide and other accommodations. Unfortunately, we found that those programs left us feeling like we were trying to fit a proverbial square peg in a round hole. When we learned about Camp Rivendell, we felt that we had finally found a place that was specifically designed for Abigail. Instead of modifying each day's scheduled activities and Abigail's way of experiencing them, everything at Camp Rivendell was already set up with her abilities and needs in mind. Since fall of last year, we've officially launched our adaptive mobile recreation program by creating accessible and inclusive activities for anyone to attend. On this slide, you can see our weekly events. At these events, we have consistently had over 10 participants, with participation numbers reaching to 30 plus attendees. We outreach to community partners such as Autism Society Oregon, the Estuary Center, and WISE program, who all attend as well. Our adaptive mobile recreation program is a great way for our community members to have access to recreational opportunities without having the barriers of things like cost.
We would not be able to offer all these programs without our part-time staff. One staff commented, "My first season working here, I got thank you notes from 2 different families about how much my support meant to them and their kids." They also said, "It's also special to see my child go from never making eye contact or saying my name for months and doing both of those things every day." We have worked hard on recruitment and retention. Last fiscal year, we averaged 13 inclusion assistants, and currently we have 44. With the growth of our patrons served, we have involved the inclusion assistant role to cross-train all staff to work in multiple areas of our department, including one-to-one with patrons in THPRD programs, facilitating group programs ran by the inclusion department, mobile recreation events, which Beth just spoke about, special events, and community outreach. Staff have commented that this makes their role feel more meaningful. They are able to see all parts of our program and the impact we're having on the community. But especially when they're able to help a patron be successful at a soccer class at Conestoga, and then see their whole family attend the spring celebration and participate in the silent egg hunt together. We have diversified the skills of our team by hiring more bilingual inclusion assistants and training opportunities focused on co-regulation, augmentative and assistive communication, boundaries, elopement, and many more. Recently, a center supervisor commented that they were so impressed by the increase in the inclusion assistant skills and professionalism. While the growth of the inclusion team has been rapidly increasing, we still find that the nature of this part-time work has many barriers, including managing schedules, working with multiple centers and parks, communication with parents and guardians, and addressing the needs of patrons. Looking ahead, part of our inclusion services team goals are to give our inclusion assistants more opportunities for participate in trainings that enhance skills and build greater team connection. We hope to complete our project digitizing all paperwork in the coming year. And we are currently working with the Diversify team to host a therapeutic recreation intern for the summer. And after getting feedback from our patrons about what programming is needed for the disability community, we recognize that our Teen TR program needs to be adjusted to meet that need. We plan to change the time and the program to increase our participation and access to adaptive leisure. And then with the rapid growth of staffing, we are hoping to be able to offer inclusion outreach and adaptations at all THPRD events. And then finally, we need the public to hear about us and what we can do. This program is so unique, and if people want to recreate, we want to be there to foster their success. We plan on increasing our participation in community events, but also outreach into groups that might have access, such as adult family homes, and continue our work at events so the community knows how THPRD can enhance their quality of life. Thank you for listening. Scan the QR code to learn more about THPRD adaptive and inclusion programs. We are now open to any discussion.
Well, I'm going to scan because I want to see where it takes me. So
The website.
anyone like to make the comments first?
Sure, I can just jump in. Yeah, I mean, this is incredible work. Great to see the growth over the last few years. I know to be able to have that many staff coming in to help more people and giving people a voice and an opportunity to be their true, authentic selves in any shape and form that takes is wonderful work and yeah, much appreciated. I think yeah, if there's anything we can do specifically to help amplify any as you work on outreach engagement things, please, if there's a way to leverage the board in any of our roles, please let us know how we can help. So, I'll pass it.
Thank you. Others?
I just want to highlight the things I really, really like that I heard, all of it, but also the bilingual staff, fantastic. The kind of job sharing and job shadowing, I'm using the wrong word, cross training, I think is the word to use. That's also fantastic. I'm really excited at the intentionality and thoughtfulness around like making sure that all people can participate in events. So truly one of the highlights of my tenure here has been the fact Oregon Triathlon. I think I went home and cried after that event. It was just so amazing. And what I saw was entire families that could participate in an event together. And so when we create those spaces, we create memories. And I'm so excited that this work continues. And I imagine it's in the budget here and that, I feel like one anecdotal measurement of equity might be how many hearts are in my budget document. Because every year it's more and more, because our budget is a reflection of our values, right? And I know it's in here and I'm excited to read it and just kudos for all your amazing work.
Thank you, Felisa.
Tia? It's all wonderful work. I think this even more highlights how you need to find people in community that are like you to feel a part of community and to find and see yourself in the programs and the places that you attend to feel welcomed and a part of things. And so that parent's description of Camp Rivendell and trying to have her like a square peg fall or fit into a circle, like that is just like an amazing metaphor. And I hope that we can create more spaces for everyone to feel like they fit in, not that they have to change to fit in, but that they're automatically welcomed when they come into their spaces. So I'm very excited to see this expand and people to hear more and we get to grow this thing up. So thank you.
Has Miles texted anything? Miles, if you can hear me, I was saying perhaps you've texted thoughts before I speak. No, not yet? Okay. I will echo the sentiments and I wrote down, I think Beth, you said all activity is therapeutic. And that's going to be the nugget for me that you might have just written a new tagline for us as we're talking about ways in which again, the depth and breadth of how you engage with the district. And so just the simplicity of that, of saying all activity is therapeutic, like however you engage with us. And in this way, to ensure that we are creating those spaces and just remaining committed. I think the other takeaway that I have is just an appreciation of, on the one hand, you're saying, hey, we've got this demand, it's growing, and being part-time, that can raise a challenge. And then the very next sentence you say, we want more people to know about what we're doing. And I think that kind of juxtaposition is a testament to the work that you do and a testament to where your energy lies, that despite some of the challenges that may be there, you're still wanting and pushing us to continue to amplify and let our community know that these services are available to them. And so I will just add, please do call on us if there's ways in which that we can help support, so that, again, folks know that this is available to them. I mean, I think about, if I'm going back to Holly and all of the different events, when I hear you say events, I'm like, if you didn't even know that that was an option to you, but you happen to be there at an event, and then to see that there are services provided for you, what a double down that we can have. So thank you both for being here. Very much appreciative. Keep up the great work. And I will, before you, let's see, because I see you checking your phone.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Palacios,
Yes, big kudos.
big kudos. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
And we hope to see you all at our silent disco.
Okay. All right, I think Melissa, you are up next, and we are going to chat through our volunteer program update. Rather fitting tonight.
Good evening, thanks for having me. I'm gonna jump right in and start talking about some of our volunteer priorities, as well as some trends that we're seeing too. The vast majority of our volunteers are signing up to volunteer at our one-day events, where they can get a more flexible, shorter volunteer shift. And this is a trend that we're seeing nationwide in recent years. Since this is the district's jam, pretty much, it's our greatest need for volunteers. We're set up poised for success, right? Provides a breadth of options for our community to volunteer, for sure. And you can see from the numbers here that we've had an increase in the need over the last few years, and I just kind of highlighted 2023 and 2024. And then pictured here on the top right, you can see a group of our Rise Youth leaders who are decked out for the Stir Holiday Bazaar, where they volunteered this past winter. And then in the lower right, you can see a group of our community garden volunteers weeding the pathways at John Marty Community Garden, just to give you kind of some of the spectrum of activities that we have. So I'm going to move on to some of the priorities in our ongoing volunteer programs now. Since I've already mentioned our Rise Youth Leaders, I'll start there. So our Rise Youth Leadership Program is a youth leadership program for youth ages 13 and up who want to work with youth and develop their leadership skills. These teams are trained to help in a leadership capacity at district events, summer camps, as well as classes. In 2024, we were able to grow the program to serve over 270 youth locally. And then pictured on the top right, you can see two of our Res Youth leaders helping out at a summer event last summer with our summer intern and another volunteer too. In addition to that, we have our junior lifeguard program. This is also a workforce development opportunity and a great stepping stone for applying for that paid staff position as a lifeguard. In the lower right, you can see a photo of one of our junior lifeguards. It's probably Basil too. Doing his thing, helping out with lifeguard duties. So in 2024, with the combined efforts of the aquatics team as well as volunteer services, we were able to grow the program to just under 100 volunteers. And then also for our junior lifeguards and our Res Youth leaders, since these are workforce development programs, we try to provide additional trainings that will build their skills too. Just last year, we provided first aid CPR AED training, bystander intervention training, behavior management training with our adaptive and inclusive staff, and then financial literacy trainings to those who are interested. And then next up, we have our Scout leadership projects. This includes our Eagle Scout projects through Scouting America, as well as gold, silver, and bronze awards through Girl Scouts of America. We're currently onboarding and we're constantly onboarding and facilitating projects with these scouts, and they've done some great work with us over the years. Just this last year, these scouts completed 10 projects for the Park District that were focused on a wide range of objectives, including split rail fence installation at sites, upgrading the plot markers in some of our community gardens, trail improvements, the creation of some free family fun kits that the equity and engagement team uses to give away to the public, And then creation of some dry erase boards for our preschool classes. And we also had gold awards, so a series of fun runs on the HMT campus too. So pictured in the bottom middle, you can see a couple of volunteers. They are adults, but they are helping in an Eagle Scout project. They're not the boss, they're the volunteers, right? And they're helping to install some of those spot markers I was talking about at one of our community gardens. Another program that's a priority for us is our coaching program. We have volunteer coaches in our youth basketball, volleyball, cross country, and track and field programs. These volunteers are invaluable at mentoring youth to be responsible athletes while also helping them hone their athletic skills too. In the bottom left, you can see one of our coaches doing her thing there too. And then the last specific program I'll highlight is our volunteer photographers. This is a small but mighty program, just a handful of very skilled volunteers, but our hope is to put some photo sharing tools in place so that we can grow that program over next year. The district's definitely got a need for more volunteer photographers because they take great photos to help us tell our story. And many of the photos tonight, I have to put a plug in, are taken by our volunteer photographers, the ones I'm sharing in my presentation. So thank you to our volunteer photographers for those great photos. And then in addition to all the programs that I've highlighted so far, we also have regular volunteers who support our community science programs, assist in our pools with our youth swimming lessons, help us manage sites as garden or park stewards and adoption volunteers. Plus we have tax aides who assist patrons with completing tax services for free. We have friends groups who fundraise and support programs at various facilities. And then we have volunteers who provide administrative support and serve refreshments to the patrons at the Stewart Center. Plus, I can't forget our advisory committees, or just our committees in general, who advocate and advise on district efforts too. So I'm going to move on to talk a little bit about what's ahead in 2025. This is going to be a transition year for volunteer services with the impending purchase and transition to some new volunteer software, which is much needed for sure. Since 2008, we've been using logistics to track and analyze volunteer data, but we'll be switching to Digital Cheetah, which sounds way more exciting, this fall. This new platform offers wraparound integration with district web pages, so we'll be better able to communicate with our volunteer community also. Currently, communication through logistics is limited to email and phone calls, which is in the dark ages, right? We're hoping, well, with the new platform, we will have the ability to use text messages as well as an app with push notifications too. Other improvements coming with the new software include having the online platform in 2 complete languages. So we'll be able to have the online platform in Spanish and English for volunteers. Plus our volunteers will be able to upload and share some of the great photos they take while they're out and about. Excuse me. Although this won't quite close the gap when it comes to our volunteer photographers sharing photos due to the size and number of the files that they send in. This will help us create community amongst our volunteers. So in addition to transitioning to Digital Cheetah, we're gonna put some photo sharing software in place too for our volunteer photographers. And in addition to the volunteer programs and the software, we also highly prioritize volunteer recognition. And since April is National Volunteer Month, I want to just put a plug in and shout out to all of our volunteers out there. Thank you so much for all that you do for the Park District. We couldn't do anything that we do without your help. You help us make this a great place to recreate, and you're also helping us build a stronger community too. Thank you so much for all that you do. I'd also like to highlight some of the changes that we've made to our annual volunteer award, which you probably already noticed we have a lot more than one volunteer of the year this year. So we've opened up the awards so that we can recognize one adult and one youth in each of the categories listed here because we have so many volunteers doing so many great things across the district. In addition to that, and since we're recognizing more volunteers, we're also rebranding the program to our volunteer champions. So that brings me to, I might stop and see if you have any comments and questions, because next I'm going to introduce our volunteer champions again and have them come up. So is there anything? All right, are we good to go?
We're good to go.
All right, so A drum roll, please.
I got you.
First off, I'm going to introduce everybody and I'm going to give you more context as to why all of our volunteers are so amazing. And then at the end, I'll invite everybody up and we can get some photos and get you your awards too. So starting with Natasha Fisher. Natasha is a PGE employee who's trained in to help staff lead volunteer projects as a stewardship leader, which she does with great enthusiasm and, as mentioned before, sometimes if you're lucky, homemade baked goods. Natasha has helped out with 10 projects focused on our community gardens and has a particular interest in providing pollinator habitat. In addition, she checks on sites during or after extreme weather events and lets staff know how they're looking. And she's organized 2 projects bringing her colleagues from PGE out to volunteer also. And then up next, we have Margaret Robinson, who's a current president of the Friends of Elsie Stewart Center and has in so many ways made this facility more welcoming and inclusive to all by supporting subsidized class options and fostering social connections that improve the lives of our elders. She's also been a member of our Levy Task Force and sits on the Beaverton Council on Aging, ensuring that the voices of our elders are heard while gathering valuable resources and information to support their needs. And then our last adult volunteer or winner for this evening, is Jeff Wehrman, who's a regular volunteer with our district track and field, plus our cross-country activities with local middle schools. Jeff is super passionate about what he does. While he's out volunteering, he's always trying to build everyone around him up, but he's also finding the tidbits of information and giving it to staff so we can improve how we do what we do too. And then on top of that, Jeff's been volunteering as a park steward with the Twelton Hills Nature Park for the last 10 years too. I'm going to move on to our youth winners for this year. First up, we have Basil Saleh, who's been a junior lifeguard at Conestoga for about the last 3 years, putting in over 620 hours of his time since he started. Basil steps up to mentor other junior lifeguards and goes the extra mile to hone his own swimming skills too. On almost any given day, you can find Basil on the pool deck or in the office where he shares his welcoming, positive, and encouraging attitude with connecting with patrons, swim lesson participants, and staff. And then next we have Angie True, who's been a Rise Youth leader with THPRD and has spent the last 3 summers volunteering with camps at Cedar Hills Rec Center. Our staff are always excited when they see Angie signed up to help out because they know she's a rock star, that she works hard, and that she's dedicated to making our programs the best that they can be. We've loved having Angie with us, and Angie took off maybe. Just a plug that staff want to hire her for a job this summer. I think Lori's already trying to talk her into it. So. Then our next winner is Karishma Chinambaram, who's been a member of our district's Programs and Events Advisory Committee, as well as the Levy Task Force. Throughout her time representing the public on these committees, she's also volunteered at many THPRD events. Karishma embodies THPRD's core values and has consistently contributed to providing ideas that will help the community feel safer and more welcome. So thank you to all of our volunteer champions, and I would like to invite you up. Thank you, girl.
Thank you for letting us do it. Margaret, we'll come up with you. You don't want to take it.
Sign, great, perfect.
Lit up in the back. Great job. Behind you. Whatever. Are we ready? I don't have a sign. You didn't get one. So. That's right. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
While we're settling in, but I'd like to have Aisha represent Miles's comment that he made.
I asked Doug if he was going to be translating this, you know, Miles is participating via chat tonight, but his response to this was, woo!
We're just seeing that in the notes.
I feel some onomatopoeia happening in the notes. All right, well, Mr. Menke, do you have anything else on your docket? Okay. All right, well, I think with that, what a heartfelt, wonderful, meaningful, impactful event tonight. This meeting doesn't always have so much richness of community here represented. So I will just leave us on the note that says thank you all for being here this evening. And with that, our meeting is adjourned.
Miles, Bruce, if you guys can hear me, I'd appreciate it if you could stay in the meeting for just another minute here.